directed numbers, multiplication and division rule. So the title is multiplication and division rules of directed numbers. Now, this is a rule that you need really memorize and apply, and there's no way around it. A positive number, when it's multiplied by a positive number, the result will be positive. A positive number times a negative number will be negative. The order doesn't matter, whether negative times positive or positive times negative, the result is negative. And when you multiply two negative numbers, the result is positive. The same rule applies to division. So if you know the rule for multiplication, the division is exactly the same. You use this rule in English, don't you? When you use a positive verb and a positive adjective, you end up with a positive feel to the sentence. Say, for example, I want to use the word I want for positive verb and I don't want for negative. Say adjective polite for positive and impolite for negative. So when you say I want to be polite, it's a good feel to the sentence, it's positive. If you say I want to be impolite, means you want to be rude, so it's negative. If you say I don't want to be polite, means you want to be rude, so it's negative. And this is double negation. When you say I don't want to be rude, that means you want to be polite, therefore it's positive. So not to mix this rule with addition and subtraction of numbers. So let's have few examples here. So I got -6 followed by -5. The previous lesson, we said if the signs are the same, we add the digits and we choose the bigger sign, the sign of the bigger digit for my answer. 6 is bigger, is negative, so it's -11. But if I times -6, -6 by -5, negative times negative is positive based on my rule there. Not my rule, the rule of directed numbers. And 6 times 5, 30. So when people say, by mistake really, 2 negatives makes a positive, but that's not correct. Here we have 2 negatives and it didn't make a positive. 2 negatives when you times together makes a positive. So negative times a negative is positive. You should never say 2 negatives or negative and a negative. So you've got to specify exactly what the operation is. So let's have another example. -4 plus 8. Here I'm not multiplying, I'm not dividing. The signs are different. Find the difference of the 2 digits. Difference of 4 and 8 is 4. Bigger digit is plus or positive. So that positive goes for the answer. However, if you multiply these, negative times positive is negative, and 4 times 8 is 32. Using the multiplication rule here, negative times positive is negative, negative times positive is negative. Here -4 followed by +8 is not a multiplication rule. There's no multiplication between them. The same, if I say +8, this time divided by -4. multiplication and division rule are the same. So positive divide by negative based on the table is negative. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Okay, let's do a few examples just to see if I can clear any difficulty with this topic. So we have minus 2 times minus 10. Negative times negative positive, 2 times 10 is 20. However, negative 2 followed by negative 10, you're not multiplying, you're not dividing. The signs are the same. You add the digits, 10 and 2 makes 12. The sign of the bigger digit is negative, so the answer is going to be negative. Try this one. Positive 2 times negative 10. The table tells me positive times negative is negative. 2 times 10 is 20. However, positive 2 followed by negative 10, you're not multiplying. The signs are different. So you find the difference of the two digits. Difference 2 and 10 is 8. Bigger digit is 10. 10 is negative. The answer is negative. Now, sometimes your numbers have double signs. For example, you have positive negative 4 or negative negative 4. Sometimes the signs are written in same levels, sometimes one below the other one, and sometimes within a bracket. So again, I've got two signs following each other. Positive, negative, 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 positive. When you have two signs following each other, there is an invisible times between them. So whenever you see double signs, you need to reduce it to a single sign using the multiplication or division rule. So positive times negative is negative. So the answer is minus or negative 4. Here, minus followed by minus, negative followed by negative. That multiplication rule between them is an invisible time. So you reduce it to a single positive sign, and we have positive 4. Here, negative, open bracket, positive. Again, two signs follow each other. This time with a bracket between them, makes no difference. Negative times positive is negative. Therefore, the answer is negative 4. Let's have some exercise questions to understand this topic better. So let's do these questions. Positive 7, take away in bracket positive 5. Positive 7 stays as it is, because there's only one sign before it. Here we have double signs. Multiplication of negative and positive by the table which I've given you earlier is negative, so that's negative 5. So that becomes the question. I'm not multiplying, I'm not dividing. Positive 7 and negative 5, the signs are different. You find the difference. The bigger digit is 7, so the answer will have the sign of the bigger digit. So that's positive 2. Next one, negative 6, negative plus 9. So if you see a double sign following each other, you need to circle this, reduce the double sign to single sign. Negative times positive is negative. So we have, I can write it here underneath, minus 6 or negative 6. The result of negative times positive is negative. 9 equals negative 15. Why negative 15? Because signs are the same. We added the digits. The bigger digit is 9. 9 is negative, so the answer would be negative. More examples. Positive 10. Take away positive 30. Whenever you see double signs, reduce them. Negative times positive is negative. So if you have positive 10, negative 30, the signs are different, you're not multiplying. If the signs are different, you find the difference of the two digits, which is 20. Look at the bigger digit, 30 is bigger than 10, 30 is negative, so that's going to be your answer, negative 20. Now, another one with decimals, negative 2.1 at negative 9.9. Here we go. Positive times negative is negative. As I said, there is an invisible sign between the two given signs here. When two signs follow, there is an invisible multiplication sign. So if you have minus 2.1 minus 9.9, which is going to give me 12. 2.1 and 9.9 give me 12. 9.9 is a bigger digit, is negative, so the answer is going to be negative. Let's do a slightly different style. In negative 19, negative, negative 7. This time the bracket is missing there, so it makes no difference. So here again I'm going to circle my double signs, reduce negative times negative to positive. I'm going to rewrite the question. Now, we are not multiplying or dividing here. The signs are different. Find the difference, which is 12. Bigger digit is 19 compared to 7. 19 is bigger than 7. 19 is negative, so the answer is going to be negative. Okay, let's do a bit more complicated ones. Negative 6, positive plus negative 7, then take away negative 8. So in this question, we have two numbers with double signs. Here we have double sign here and double sign here. You need to reduce them to a single sign. Plus times minus or positive times negative is negative. And negative times negative is positive. So I'm going to write these numbers with only one sign. So we have minus 6, negative 6, negative 7, positive 8. Okay, deal with the first two. Negative 6 and negative 7 makes negative 13. Why? Because the signs are the same. We add the digits, 6 at 7 makes 13. 7 is the bigger digit and it's negative, followed by positive 8. Now we have these two to deal with. The signs are different. If you're not multiplying or dividing, find the difference of the two digits, which is 5. Bigger digit is 13, and 13 is negative. So that's your final answer. Do a bit more. You have negative 1, negative, bracket open, negative 5 at negative 8. The first number has got one sign, so nothing to reduce for. Negative times negative here is positive. so that becomes positive 5. Here positive times negative is negative, so that becomes negative 8. So deal with the first two. Minus 1, plus 5, negative 1, positive 5. The signs are different. Find the difference, which is 4. Bigger digit 5, positive, therefore positive 4. Followed by negative 8. Now deal with these two now. Positive 4 with negative 8. The signs are different. You find the difference, which is 4. Bigger digit 8. 8 is negative. Therefore, this is your answer. More examples with mixture of multiplication, division, and when you don't times and divide. So here, minus 7 plus negative 3. You know how to do these ones. Multiplication of two signs makes negative here, positive times negative. So let me rewrite here, negative 7, negative 3. Now we can deal with this easily. You're not timesing and dividing. The signs are the same. You add the digits. Bigger digit is 7, is negative, so the answer is negative. Look at the next one. Negative 4 times negative 3. Now, I'll put the negative 3 inside bracket because I can. Brackets are like carrier bags. I'll put a bag with negative 3 in it. With or without bag is still the same question. But we are multiplying. We are multiplying negative 4 by negative 3. Negative times negative is positive. And 4 times 3 is 12. Which is different to negative 4, negative 3. Here, I'm not multiplying. The signs are the same. I add the digits. Bigger digit is 4. 4 is negative. The answer is negative. So you've got to really make sure you know the difference of the two rules, when you multiply and divide and when you don't. Here we go. Minus 20, minus 2. Minus 20 divided by minus 2. Here you're not multiplying, dividing. The signs are the same. You add. Bigger digit is minus, negative. Here you're dividing. Negative divided by negative is positive. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Minus 6 times minus half times minus 30. Okay, I'm multiplying three numbers. Look, multiply this number by this number times another number. So what about the signs now? Negative times negative, so far positive. The positive times the negative makes negative. Let me try again. You got negative times a negative. These two makes positive because you're timesing them. And this positive and that negative comes together, creates negative. Then 6 times half, half of 6 is 3, and 3 times 30 is 90. We multiply the digits because the question tells me to. Okay. Another one. 0.2 times minus 1,000. You may say, I haven't given you the sign of 0.2. Of course. If no sign means automatically positive. Here we go. If you want to put the positive yourself, then you can do that. So we have positive times negative is negative. 0.2 times 100. That's, sorry, times 1000 is 200. Another one. Minus 3 times minus 6 times minus 10. Three signs being multiplied. Negative times negative makes positive. And this positive and that negative makes negative. Then you multiply the number. 3 times 6, 18. 18 times 10, 180. Let's look at this one. Negative 2 times positive 2 times negative 2 times positive 2. If you like, I can put them all inside bracket. Makes no difference. I'm putting them each in their own bag. Brackets in math are called algebraic carrier bags. They carry the numbers inside them. So this time let's go for the digit now. We have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is not 8. 2 times 2 makes 4. 4 times 2 makes 8. And 8 times 2 makes 16. So the answer is 16. The sign. Negative times positive, negative. That negative times the next negative is positive. And this positive times the next positive is positive 16. Next question. Negative 2 plus 2, negative 2 plus 2. Now, it looks the same, but it's a totally different question. I'm not multiplying. Let's do the first two. Negative 2 plus 2. The signs are different. So you find the difference, which is 0. And 0 has no sign. What about these two? Negative 2 and positive 2. It's 0 again. The signs are different, you find the difference. And 0 makes 0. Another one. 5 minus positive 7 inside bracket plus minus 0.5 inside the bracket. There is no times between the letters, but there is times between the numbers. There's no times between the numbers, but there's times between the signs. Let's reduce them. Minus or negative times positive, negative. Positive times negative, negative. So I'm going to write this question again with a single sign. Positive minus negative 7, negative 0.5. So when you got more than two numbers, we need to do in order. I will do the first two. No sign means plus. If you're more comfortable to put the plus, then put a plus if you like. If there's no sign, you can put a plus. Positive 5, negative 7. Signs are different, you find the difference. Bigger digit is 7. 7 is negative. Then we deal with this one now. This is the result of the first two, followed by the third number, which is minus 0.5. Now here, the signs are the same. So you add the digits. Look at the bigger digit is 2. 2 is negative, so the answer is negative. I hope you've understood the rules of directed numbers with these examples I've given you. I'm trying to make maths as enjoyable as possible for you. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next lesson. Bye.